my name is Emma Scott. When I was told 2 days ago that I would be giving this speech, the only helpful piece of advice I got was not to quote High School Musical. So I definitely will not be doing that. You may know me from a few months back when I won the science fair and went to state. If you weren't there the day that it was announced, you might know me as the girl who was always reading across the room. You may also know me as the girl who laughs uncontrollably at things that you might not even think are funny. I may know you as the girl who draws in science class, or the boy who sings the passage, or reads the punctuation in English class. We'll be remembered for different things, but we are all in this together. I said earlier that I'm always reading, and that is definitely true. In preparing for this speech, as per usual, I consulted the library. I decided to share with you one of my favorite quotes from a book called When You Reach Me by Rebecca Stead. Yes, you heard me right, it's not The Hunger Games. In this part of the book, Miranda, the main character, who lives in New York City, has just had her life get very complicated. So in order to try and make the problems seem smaller, she tries to think about them in light of the much bigger issues of the world. I pictured the world, all pretty blue-green and floating out in space. Creatures and forests and deserts and cities. I brought North America into focus, the United States, the East Coast, all the way to New York City. Kids are walking up and down the street toward school. One kid has green suede boots. One has a charge account at Kohl's. One has keys in her pocket. Does it really matter, I asked myself? It did. She thought that by thinking about how big the world is, she would decide that the problems don't actually matter that much. But that's not what she ends up with. She finally decides that her life, in all its complexity and challenges, actually does matter, even though it can't really compare to stuff like global warming or world hunger. I think this goes for our lives too. When you think about it, this middle school graduation probably doesn't matter much in the grand scheme of things. When you're 65 and thinking about all the important things in your life so far, your middle school graduation probably will be one of them. Actually, even by the time you finish college, this will probably no longer be one of the more important things in your life. But at this point, at least for me, this hour and a half or so was probably one of the most important and proud hour and a half in my life, because it signifies something that I really worked hard on. Even though it doesn't really matter that much compared to scoring the winning touchdown at the Super Bowl, finishing a PhD, or having a baby. And of course, not everything we're celebrating here really seems like it matters all that much. Some things really are just fun. You may have seen me running around the school the other day and asked me what the most memorable thing this year was. By general consensus, everyone who went loved the Eden Canyon trip, especially when Mr. Medane showed everyone up with his wrapping. And who could forget Fun Day a few weeks ago when board games were all over this gym, and the PE track had an inflatable obstacle course, and people could try out sumo wrestling with huge inflated suits. For me, I will never forget screaming my head off at Six Flags at grad night. I also think that Mr. Medane's ringtone might be forever implanted into my brain. But even so, there are plenty of things we're celebrating here that really do matter, even if only to us and our families in this moment. We've made it through 9 years of our education now. We've learned a lot of important things about math and science, about the history of the world, about literature, and most importantly, about ourselves. And in the next few years, we're going to be encountering all kinds of new things. We're going to have more freedom, but also more responsibilities than we've ever had before. Pretty soon we're going to be getting driver's licenses. We're going to be old enough to get jobs of our own, make our own money. Not only that, but some of those responsibilities are going to come with choices we need to make. Choices that are going to affect us and everyone else. Choices like how we're going to spend our free time, who we're going to hang out with, whether we're going to live our lives only trying to survive from week to week, or whether we have the capacity and courage to make contributions to other people's lives as well. We may not all be changing the world yet, but graduating from 8th grade means that the chance to do it may be coming sooner than we think. When and if it does, we need to be ready for it, because those chances may seem small and insignificant at first glance too. So on behalf of the 2013 8th grade class, I'd like to thank all of the teachers and staff here at Blair for helping us through this time. They all worked really hard to put on events and classes for us. As much as it's not always class picnics, theme park nights, and field trips for us, we know it's not always fun for you either. For me, I'd like to thank my family because they've always helped me out when things got hard. And I'm sure I can thank all of the other families out there on behalf of the rest of my class for doing those same kinds of things. I'd also like to thank my friends, especially the ones here, for making me laugh and also for letting me talk for far longer than was probably my fair turn. Finally, thank you so much for letting me become a parent talk. It's a huge honor being a valedictorian at this school. And please remember, even though sometimes it may seem like we're too small and insignificant to be important, no matter what, there will always be people around you that realize the truth. Our lives really do matter.